Hello everybody, what is going on? Welcome to the third episode of Studio Time, and today we're gonna have a tutorial on how to make the following 4 bars of dubstep. So, we will rebuild this project now, step by step, and I'll put a download link into the description box below where you can download all the massive presets that I've made from this project now, so you can rebuild it at home or use them for your own stuff. That would be no problem. So let's get started. So first of all, the drums. I'm using Battery 4 as my drum sampler. I'm using drum samples from Loopmasters or Push Button Bang or BHK. On the snare I use a compressor with 85 milliseconds attack to make it a little more tight, and an EQ with some punch at 200 Hz to give it a little more bottom. On the kick I also have a compressor with even shorter attack to make it also quite tight and not so long. Yeah, 4 hi-hats and 2 splash samples. One is a crash and this one is some kind of fake reverb for the snare. I trigger this every time I trigger the snare. And these two go through a separate audio channel, so they can be sidechained. This is the only audio channel, the channel with the kick and the snare and the hi-hats. That's the only channel that I do not sidechain. Everything else goes through my group 1, where I load a compressor and activate the sidechaining option. And I also load another audio track where I insert a kick drum sample. And this audio track sends to the sidechaining option of the compressor, so every time this kick drum sample here is played, the sidechain is activated. So now to the fun stuff, the sound design. Here we have the first bass hit in this track. It's an octave fall down growl. And now we're trying to rebuild that one. You will also have the preset of this in the download stuff that I'll put in the description. And yeah, so this can take a little longer now, and I cannot guarantee that it will sound just like this sound now. But let's try rebuilding this. So first of all, there's going to be an octave fall down, so I have a pitch bend automation in this MIDI track here. So it takes the pitch bend all the way down. So we also have to, in Massive, change the setting here that it takes the note down 12 half notes. So this goes down a whole octave if the pitch bend is fully moved to the bottom. Okay, now we need different wavetables for the 3 oscillators. I prefer Gentle Speech, Chrome and AI for this. And we need an all-pass filter in the filter section and only route through this one. This is what it sounds like now. I'll take the Chrome oscillator up an octave. And now we will automate the cutoff over here. Sounds quite growly already. So we will modulate this with the LFO over here. I'll use the bending 1 wave for this because I like it. I think it's a little bit better than the usual sine wave. And then we also modulate pretty much everything in the oscillator section with this LFO. The wavetables of every oscillator and also this stuff, whatever it is. I just select these modes here, bend minus, bend plus, bend minus, plus at random, but it always sounds quite nice. And then I just modulate them like I do with the wavetable position. Yay, sounds quite nice already. We can also use the modulation oscillator down here to phase modulate one of these 3 OCs. This sounds quite nice. And now we can add some post-processing with tube distortion and some dimension expanding, just a little. And in the voicing section, turn it to monophonic, add another voice, and then put the pan position to either the left side or the right side. You hear the difference? If you're listening with headphones, you'll hear a lot difference now between this and this. So this is very stereo wide now and fat, and that's what we want with the sound. So, does it sound good? Yes, I can work with that. You can even post-process this more with an external equalizer and a compressor. You can copy the settings if you want, and yeah, that's the first sound. So the next sound I want to talk about is this one. One of my favorites and very easy to build. You need Native Instruments FM8 for this. So let's start. This is an initial preset now. And there you just have a simple sine wave doing nothing. And then I do not exactly know what I'm technically doing here, but I just do it. I activate two other oscillators and turn this stuff up. I just click here and move my mouse up. I think this this affects the FM modulation. And important is the first oscillator needs a sine wave. The second one of these, I prefer the 1+8, and the third one of these formant waveforms, I prefer the 10th one. And yeah, keep these values at yeah, pretty much 50, 60, like this. Now it sounds like this. Now we need effects. We need the shelving EQ and the talk wah-wah. The talk has to be modulated by the mod wheel, so we activate that and turn the size down to 15 or something. Then it sounds like this. And of course you also have to add mod wheel automation in your MIDI track. I've written this now, so this modulates this knob over here, as you can see. And then you add the shelving EQ and add some treble over here, so it sounds a little cleaner. And now the post-processing is important. First of all, we need a compressor, of course, just like this. You can copy the settings. And then we need a distortion plugin, Camel Crusher. This one is for free. And yeah, just keep it like this, like the initial, what is it, annihilate patch. Maybe turn down the tube distortion a little, and then it sounds like this. There's quite some punch behind this now. And then we can add another equalizer to turn down the annoying low mid-range bass down here. If we turn that up, you'll hear what I'm removing here. This mud down here. So this one is gone, and then we can also add some more treble, so it sounds clearer over here. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that one is pretty nice. You can also do some pitch bending together with these mod wheel automations to make some complex and cool movements with it. Alright, so the last sound I want to talk about in detail is this one. A nice screechy bass. And to build it is quite easy. You need a simple sine wave and the hard sync wavetable. And you need a performer to turn up the wavetable knob all the way to 100% very fast, so that it goes like this, but just very fast. So I've built this wave in the performer section with the building blocks, and I've also turned up the speed very fast, so yeah, it goes like this. You also need a scream filter. Without scream filter it sounds like this. So you need the cutoff at 100%, the resonance at 100%, and the scream knob, yeah, pretty much at the middle. It depends on which note you want to play. I am playing a G now. So this range here is okay, but if I'd play a, don't know, an F, an higher F now, I'd have to turn this up. Or if I play a lower note, I'd have to turn this down a little. You can also, if you want to play a more complex melody with this, use the key tracking on this, so that this knob automatically turns depending on what keys you play, so that this follows the your notes, and you don't have to automate this. But I only play 3 different notes here, so this position is okay. And don't forget some tube distortion and some dimension expanding behind it, and also compressing. You can copy the settings again if you want, and removing all sub bass, because that does a different VST. Okay, it's massive again, but another instance where I only have a sine wave, and the sine wave plays every time a bass sound plays. Here we have the octave fall down, and the sine wave does just the same. It's easier this way to mix it in the end. So I always have this sub sine here to play whenever a bass is playing. Like we also have this one down here, and the sine does, yeah, so it accompanies it all the time, and yeah, that's the sub bass. So this is it for today. I don't want to make this video too long, so we still have some sounds to talk about in the next episode, like these two. Leave me a comment in the comment section if you like this, if this was helpful, and if you want to know more about certain sounds or about mixing or mastering. Yeah, and thanks for watching, and don't forget to download the stuff in the description if you want to rebuild this, or if you just want to use the massive presets for your own tracks, that's no problem. So yeah, goodbye and have a good one. Studio time, away with the frowns, we're gonna make super awesome sounds.